Hey everyone, it's me, Aries Mars. Um, I know I ain't recorded any videos in a while. I just been busy. Y'all know this is not just my main thing. I am working. I'm also trying to take care of my health. Dealing with the diabetes, and also I've enrolled in some online classes, so I've been trying to take care of those as well. So I just been busy, and here I am with a double review for American Horror Story, episode 11 and episode 12, Battle Royale, and Be Our Guest. Let me get started with Battle Royale. So we basically come in to this episode where Liz and Iris, they loading up the guns, getting ready to go up to the penthouse to let the Countess have it. They walk in there, they let the Countess have it. They also let Donovan have it as well. Iris stops Liz from shooting Donovan, and as they go to try to finish off the Countess, she's gone. Um, Donovan, who is dying, doesn't want to die in the hotel because if you die in the hotel, your spirit won't leave the hotel. So he has his mother, has Iris and Liz take him outside to die, which he does, and his spirit is set free from the motel. Um, then we come to find out what happened to the Countess. Sally saved her because Sally basically wants her to do something for her. Basically, because she's not over John. Sally, she has separation issues, and then we go into her story about what happened to her at the motel and um what happened to her at this motel. Because she was a songwriter for a band and for I want to say a band, for this couple who were doing songs, and they went to the motel to have some fun and came up with this crazy notion to sew together. Sally came up with this crazy notion to sew themselves together, and they ended up dying from overdosing. And Sally ended up getting toward this when Sally actually met the little loose skin thing with the drill bit, Peter. And she said he'd torture her for a couple of days, and Sally, this where her abandonment issue started basically. But enough of that. As we go on, um, John left the motel with his wife and his child. They went and got their daughter, and basically they're trying to live a regular life. Now, what Sally wanted from the Countess is to get John back to the motel, because Sally wants to kill John so his spirit will remain in the motel and be with her. But child, do whatever. And we go on. um, and we go on. And so on that, John, he's going to find food for the mother and his little boy, and he comes home and finds out that um they're at the motel. So he goes to the motel, and basically Sally um informs him, you have to do one last job. You have to complete the 10 Commandment killings. And the last commandment is, what was the last commandment? Something about murder. I watched the episode last week, and I was gonna do a review on it, but I went to sleep because y'all know I work graveyards. So sometimes when I'm watching these episodes, I'm sleepy. And I watched it and I fell asleep. And when I woke up, it was time for me to get up and go to work. So that's why I'm doing this double review as well. Um, But yeah, he did the last killing. But before that, let me rewind. Iris and Liz Miss end up freeing Miss Royale herself from the vaulted door, and they find out that the kids was in there, and Ramona drained them of the blood and stuff like that. So they have to get her back strong, and who else for her to suck on? But oh my gosh, I forgot her name in Coven, but the girl who played Precious herself, I don't know her name. I really don't keep up with her like that. But the girl who played Precious, she ends up checking into the motel, and she's playing the witch that she played from American Horror Story Covenant. And Ramona ends up trying to kill her, but you can't really kill her because she's a living voodoo doll. So she's about to let Ramona have it, by killing her. And then, not John, JPM ends up killing her because, he's a ghost. So she can't really do any hoodoo voodoo on him. And he ends up killing her, and Ramona ends up sucking her dry. So that was the end of her. The last command was thou shalt not murder. Okay. Let me get on to that. Because as I told you, the Countess lived, and two of her blonde-headed babies ended up sacrificing themselves so the Countess could remain living. Because she basically drained them dry of their blood. Basically to get John, just basically so Sally can get John back in the motel to do what she wants to do. And JPM basically wants the Countess dead so her spirit will live on in the motel. It's a lot of happening in this episode. Alright. So he saved Ramona Royale herself because he wants Ramona to do the deed. So we go on. Ramona's revised, so she goes up to the penthouse. I may be skipping a couple of things, but they probably wasn't that relevant. But Ramona, she goes up to the penthouse. Her and the Countess have a chitter chatter back and forth. Basically, Countess ends up wanting to give her the motel, and because she wants to leave, she wants out of this motel. She wants to leave. She doesn't want to have anything to do with it. But before she leaves, she wants basically her and Ramona have one more coup d'etat. And as she's leaving, guess who comes up out the elevator? As the elevator doors open, guess what happens? John ends up shooting her to death. Dang. It ends up being the last commandment for the 10 Commandment killer. Ends up beheading her and putting her head up on the shelf with the other commandments. Dang. She was almost out. But other than that, that's basically what happened. And basically he ends up trying to look for his family. And I don't know what happened out there because the episode went off. Now on to the season finale. Be Our Guest. Basically, in this, Iris and Liz, they end up, selling all of the artwork that the Countess, inquired to, refresh the motel so they can get business in the motel. Because if the motel does not thrive, then the motel might end up getting shut down. And where the spirit is going to go, where the live people actually going to go that are living in the motel. But they can't seem to do that because Sally and Will Drake are killing the guest. So Liz and Iris call a meeting with the spirits in the motel and basically tell them to stop. Sally and Will, they don't want to because they feel like this is this is like their drug basically. But JPM, he basically gets them together and tells them to stop and basically lets them know, this is a historical building, so it will never be torn down, such and such, and blah, 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 blah. Going on. So Iris and Liz, Iris goes to talk to Sally, ends up getting her on the World Wide Web and social media, the Snapchat, the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram, and, giving her another outlet for her not really getting John, because in Battle Royale she tried to kill John, but JPM stopped her, and she never got what she wanted. So being that she's so in love with John and wants him, and she has separation issues, Iris gives her another way to get that. What's the word? Get that love that she's seeking that really won't go anywhere. Because as soon as she got on, she started blowing up on these social sites, and it basically helped her. She ended up throwing out her drugs and needles out the window, because they can't really leave the motel, so she ended up throwing them out the window. Oh wow! Now Will Drake, Liz ends up talking to him because, he's been dead for a very long time. So his business is starting to die. They sent his son to a private school elsewhere. So the son's no longer in the motel. And Will is basically telling, Liz, he's not really going to be able to meet the son because he doesn't want his son to come back to this hotel because this is not a place to raise a child. Okay, but Liz, she tries to give him the encouragement, and she ends up, being his, what's the word? End up being his, I can't think of the word right now, but she talks for him now. Basically, he gave her the rights to do whatever she needed to do with his company, and she did that. And he started designing again, started getting his money back up. Yep. And he had shows at the motel, and stuff like that. So he got himself back up. And from what we've seen, we are starting getting guests at the motel. This is good. And then we find, and Iris does something good for Liz by bringing in, I would say, is it a medium? Probably bringing in a medium to have her talk to, what's his name? Not Donovan, Tristan. Because, Liz and Tristan were in love. But Tristan ends up not wanting to talk to Liz because they were wondering, he was murdered in the motel. Why haven't they seen him? He has not popped up at any since he's been murdered. But he and Tristan doesn't want to talk to Liz, but Donovan ends up talking to his mother, and she gets the acceptance from her son that she needs through this reading, and the median basically is telling them that she wants to do a couple of shows in the motel. And with her doing that, it brought business to the motel due to the spirits in the motel. But her doing these episodes is bringing too much, attention to the motel, because then we end up finding out. Hold up, I'm going too far ahead. too far ahead. All right, let me go back. Um, Liz's son ends up having a child, which would make her a grandmother. His wife is accepting um, of Liz. Liz ends up finding she has pancreatic cancer and is too far gone to do anything about it. Um, so Liz ends up um, not killing herself. She ends up having the spirits kill her. But the thing about that is the Countess shows up and basically tells her she wants to, help her with her new transition, the way she helped her with the first one, and ends up slicing her throat. And Liz is now part of the spirits in the motel. Oh, this episode was an emotional episode. Really, it was. I also forgot to tell y'all in Battle Royale, people thought that the Countess was the one that called the police on JPM, but we ended up finding out it was the maid herself. The maid did it in the laundry room. Let me stop. But the maid did it herself. Called the police on JPM because she wanted JPM for herself. She wanted the Countess to leave. She doesn't like the Countess. She wanted recognition and stuff like that. Okay, back to 12. So when Liz ends up joining the spirits in the motel, Tristan finally shows himself. And that made her day. So they're basically back together in love, doing their thing. Oh, that's so good. That's so nice. Okay, going on. What else happened in this episode? We find out that John, his wife, and the child are, they're not really adapting to trying to live a regular life outside of the motel, since John is now pinned as the Ten Commandment killer, so he's being searched for. They end up going back to the motel, and we end up finding that John ends up getting shot by the police. Because he ends up getting shot by the police outside of the motel. And then we find out that every October 30th, the medium is trying to get in contact with him. So on Devil's Night in 2022, he ends up letting the motel know, call her, let's set up this meeting, let's do this, whatever. But he has a surprise for the medium because he basically wants her to stop. They basically all want her to stop. So he set something up because, on Devil's Night, all the people that JPM molded to try to finish his work come to visit. And John is one of them. Since he didn't die in the motel, he died outside the motel. His spirit can only come to the motel around this time, like like all the other murderers. Okay, so he meets the medium. They talk, and he basically convinces her to leave the camera crew behind, and he will show her something. She does it, and they go to the denter where all the murderers are, and she sees all the murderers. And when you're around, I think a person of that, I don't know what to say about that because I don't know nothing about that, so I can't really speak on it. But all these spirits around her that are dark spirits are really messing with her, and then they make her. Then she ends up drinking that green drink, or what is it, absinthe or something like that, and it starts messing her up real bad. And they basically are doing this to scare her, so she will not come back to the motel or do any other episodes of this motel. And they achieved it. It was very achieved because she thought she was going to be murdered and thought she was going to be able to get away and speak on it. But Ramona got her in check real quick because Ramona's not dead, so she can leave the motel anytime she wants to and get her. I forgot her name. Anyways, and then John ends up going to room 64 where his child and his mother, where the mother is, and we end up seeing his daughter. What was her name again? We end up seeing his daughter. He ended up sending his daughter to the same private school that Will Drake sent his son. And we see his daughter, she's growing up, because she's the only one in the family that ages. And the only time he can see his family is on this night. So it was so sentimental and nice. Oh my gosh. And this was a good episode. It was a very good episode. And then we come to the ending with the Countess at the lounge. This guy was walking up, and she goes to talk to him because the Countess is a spirit now, and since she got killed in the motel, was decapitated and put on the shelf as one of the 10 Commandments. And she goes to talk to this guy and basically tells him he has cheekbones for days. That line again. So here we go. Another story. So, but other than that, these 2 episodes were good. I like them. This was a good finale for this season. So I don't know what they're gonna do next year though. I don't know how they're gonna follow this one up. Don't know. But other than that, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, share, comment. Email me, ariesmars@gmail.com. That is ARI3SMAR5@gmail.com. All right, once again, like, subscribe, share. Check out my other videos. All right now, y'all be good.